first question, you might recognize it from before, is, would you like to tell me who you are?
It's funny actually, because I look down and there's a word that I have this box here, this like microphone stand, and the word that I look at says infinite. So the first, I look down and then it says infinite possibilities. So it's right there in front of my face. Yeah, what am I? Well, I guess yeah, to be honest, to be really honest with you, I'm not quite sure what I am. However, I do think that there is some wisdom in not being quite sure, because I've personally found in my experience that when I am honest, when I'm brutally, truthfully honest with myself, then I always return to a state of not quite knowing what the truth is. And then that brings me right back to present experience. So the question, what am I? The only real thing that I have to go by, the only thing that I can use as reference is present experience and the experience of awareness. There is forms and shapes always around. If there are no forms or no shapes, then they're either very subtle forms or very subtle shapes, or there is just the form of formlessness as well, which is also its own form. So there's always some kind of dance that's happening of experiences. And to ask who am I is to ask who am I in relationship with life. So who am I really is, who do I want to be? Who do I say that I am? Because I am awareness, I am the subject, I am observer. But also when I believe in something and when I give something my attention, when I tell a specific story, I also have the power of creation as well. So when I tell a story, I can create a form as well. So who I am is who I say that I am, and who I want to be is who I am. So who I am is who I want to be, which for me recently has been aligning with just my highest excitement. So whenever I feel the feeling of passion, whenever I feel the feeling of love, that childlike feeling where it's, you just feel like you're on vacation and you can do anything you want. And it's just pure excitement to just enjoy the beauty of life in any way that I want to. I'm free to do that. In each moment, that's who I choose to be. So that's who I am.
Thank you. If an interesting thing is that you are immediately jumping into the second question when I ask you the first question. So the second question is, what are you? The first question was, who are you? And you seem to, or actually the follow-up question then is, what would you say about the who and about the what? Do you?
Yeah. I would love to answer what are you, because that has a different quality. I like both questions. What are you has a different quality. My mind keeps just saying the word infinite possibility. And the thing is, I don't quite know how to explain that. Infinite possibility is like, what am I? Well, I am nothing. But what nothing really means, what the meaning of nothing actually is not a black empty space. It's not like a void. It has nothing to do with void or emptiness. What real nothing actually means is lacking in any kind of limitation. So for example, when we are in public, we have all sorts of limitations because we limit ourselves so that we can fit into a social norm, right? So if I'm at the grocery store, I limit myself so that I don't take my clothes off in the grocery store and, you know, start rubbing myself against all the fruits and vegetables, because that would make other people uncomfortable. So that's one of my limitations that I've taken on. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but interestingly, when we live life, we get lost in our limitation. And sometimes in order to take on a limitation, we have to forget our true nature. And our true nature is that which is so unlimited and so free that I am even free to create any limitation that I want and impose it onto myself, because I am so open and so accepting, because lack of limitation is also the energy of love. It's lack of a self. A self is just a limit. It's a specific form. So reality actually has no set form, which is what allows it to take on any form without limitation at all. So the substance of reality, you would say, is mind, or it's a dream substance. And the reason why we say it's a dream substance is because a dream substance is understood to not be limited by physical limitations. So it's understood that when I imagine something, it is created. If I can imagine it, I can create it. That's what it means to have no limitation at all. So God, or mind, or the true nature of reality, or infinity, infinite potential, has no self. It's what you are. It's what you are. You're it. You're made of it right now. It's in your heart. It's infinite energy. It's like infinite love. It's abundance. This is what abundance means when we talk about wealth and having everything, having infinite wealth, infinite abundance, in having what you want, experiencing what you want in your life. That's what do we really want? If I want, a big house and a fast car and a beautiful girlfriend, what is the thing that I really want? Really, what I want is to experience the feeling of having no limitation on my life. I want to feel free to experience anything I want, when I want to experience it, how I want to experience it. I want freedom. Freedom to create anything, because it's just beautiful. Whatever I want to be able to create it. And that's what you already have. You already have that. That's your nature as God, as infinite potentiality, is you are already creating reality, But when you have forgotten your true nature, when you have identified with a limited form and you forget that you're actually the unlimited formless, then what happens is you create reality, but you don't create reality with your conscious intention. You create reality out of the fear of limitation, which is you create your shadows. It's like you actually, like the things you don't want get created, but because they are there to mirror you. The reason why we experience the forms, the dance of life, is because the purpose of the forms is to mirror your choice and just to give, to literally show you, to give you back, hey, this is what you're choosing. This is it. Here, look, you've created this. Look, this physical crystal that we call reality is an actual manifestation of your thoughts and beliefs and your conception of yourself. Who you think you are is what you've gotten in your reality. And it's so compassionate and so loving. God is so compassionate because it literally is mirroring back to you what you believe about yourself and what you're putting out. So that's the ultimate tool. Reality, physical life, actual life is the ultimate vehicle for awakening. So one of the things that has actually helped me the most with my awakening process, believe it or not, meditation has helped a lot. But one thing that has actually helped an unexpected amount was doing online business. So when I work on my business, I am learning every single day that the way I conceive myself is the results that I get in my business. They literally mirror each other. So I've used the physical world as a mirror to teach me, to remind me who I actually am, which is whoever I say I am.
What is another?
That's an amazing question. Another is a tool. An other, what is an other? A fantastic question. An other is a tool. It is an idea that God uses to experience more of itself. So if I want to know what it means to be an infinitely loving, infinitely powerful, omniscient, all-knowing creator, if I want to know what that actually means, it's impossible to know it conceptually because there's an infinite number of possibilities in an infinite number of dimensions. And there's infinite distinctions that I can make. And then there's even infinite levels of meta distinction. So there's infinite distinctions that I can make about the distinctions that I'm making. So infinity is like, not only is it infinite, but it's infinitely infinite in an infinite number of ways. So it's literally too much for the mind to grasp. So in order to, since there's no limit at all, infinity, just for fun, just because it's really fun, actually chooses to impose limitations on itself. So when we play a video game, for example, one of my favorite video games to play is called Dark Souls. It's just like a classic like Dungeons and Dragons game where you just play as like a knight and you have a sword and you just kind of run through this world and there's like monsters and dragons and you gotta fight them and kill them. The reason why this game is so fun is because it's so hard. There's so many limits. Like my health bar is very small and the enemy's health bars are very big and they do lots of damage and I die very quickly. So it's a very hard game. That's why the game is fun. Because when the game is hard, it has stakes. There's real life stakes. I'm involved in the game now. Now I can take on the game as being real. I can actually care about the game. I can be inside of the game. I can be involved in the game, and I can, because when I beat the game, it really matters. Because I heard this beautiful thing the other day, like, what's so beautiful about a human lifetime is that we are so good at limiting ourselves in like very deep, dark holes of limitation and negative beliefs, terrible situations, terrible financial situations, terrible toxic relationship situations, terrible situations in terms of the relationships between people, between societies as well, between different countries, even wars, diseases, like the worst hellish situations. And what's so funny is that they're real. It's like a real hell. And if you can learn to work your way out of a real hell, like in that video game Dark Souls, where there's monsters trying to kill you, when you learn how to actually best the monsters and actually beat them, then you realize like how amazing you actually are. Because to be God means that your light and your infinity can penetrate through even the darkest hell realm. So when I am a human being and I have no money and no relationships and no understanding and all kinds of limiting beliefs and terrible health, and I'm in a war zone country, but then still I can attain awakening and realize what I actually am in spite of all of that, that's something really beautiful. That's something that when you go to the movie theater and you watch a movie, the reason why you like the movie and you're interested and engaged in the movie is because there's a terrible problem that forces the hero to realize more about who he really was the entire time. There is such a bad problem. That's what engages you in the movie. If there were no challenges, if there were no stakes, then the movie isn't very interesting. And it's not a piece of art. It's not beautiful. So this transformation of unconsciousness into consciousness is the purpose of other. That's why we experience other, so that we can experience what it means to be separate, so that we can know what it really means to not be separate, what it really means what it really, really, really means to not be separate is to actually be okay with being separate, to actually include separation as a part of yourself. That's what it means to be infinite, is to include every possible finite combination of variables into yourself and include it and embrace it as you.
The last of the four questions is what is life?
What is life? So funny. So my glass here, it has an elephant on it. There's like all these different elephants. I'm gonna take some water. So using this glass here, I would like to talk about what is life. So there's this story, actually, this Hindu story of the 5 blind men and the elephant. And these 5 blind men, obviously they can't see, but they want to know what an elephant is. So they want to know what life is. This is the analogies. They want to know what an elephant is. So one blind man feels the elephant's tail and he says, oh, well, I now know the nature of an elephant. An elephant is like a rope. But then another blind man is feeling the elephant's leg and he's saying, no, it's not like a rope. It's more like a solid pillar. And then another blind man is feeling the elephant's side and he says, it's not really like a rope or a pillar. It's actually more like a wall. But then another blind man is feeling the elephant's tusks and is saying, no, actually an elephant is like a spear. And another blind man is feeling the elephant's trunk. And he's saying, well, no, actually an elephant is like a snake. So, or maybe he was feeling its ear and he was saying, oh, it's like a fan. But the story was that all these blind men were kind of arguing with each other. And then there was a guy who can see, who was just like standing on the side. And so he was like laughing. He's like, how do they not see that life is everything? It's all 5 of those. So this is the story of it's called Anakantavada, or many-sidedness. So many-sidedness means that life literally is anything. It literally is what you say it is. So in science, there's this common debate or question, like, is reality matter or is reality energy? Is it non-physical or is it physical? Which one is it? Well, Anakantavada has 7 categories of truth. It says yes, no, yes and no, neither yes or no, both yes, no, and neither, and then it's like basically a combination of all of them, and it's like in some like all the combinations. So is reality matter or is it energy? Well, the answer is yes, it is matter, but it's also energy, and it's also not matter or energy, and it's also both matter and energy. And it's also neither matter nor energy, or it's both and neither at the same time. And then it's neither and both. And then the 7th one is some combination of the previous 6. So all of this to say that life, what is life? Well, life is a mirror. Life gives you what you say it is. Life is awesome. I love life. Life's the best thing ever.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you so much, Eric. Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, for holding the space for me. So I'm so grateful for you giving me the experience to experience myself in this way. That's like such a gift that you've given me. Like, I really honestly, genuinely appreciate that. So thank you so much for that.
Life is awesome, and I also love life. And this is such a good reminder